Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves, and we have a great show for you tonight. I'm going to be talking to you about Sophia Maria de Loreto Chuddy. And I'm going to tell you who she is. She happens to be the aide, a staff of Representative Barragan's aide. If you don't know who Representative Barragan is, she has been circulating in a viral video where she is attacking Homeland Security Director Kirstjen Nielsen, saying that she committed perjury in her statements to Congress. And if you don't remember that video, I'm going to play a little snippet of it just now so you can see this.
And you let kids be separated without tracking them. Do you know how outrageous that is, Madam Secretary?
So, that's the video. I'm sure you've seen it because everyone was posting it everywhere. And it just so happens that Sophia Maria de Loreto Chuddy is working for her. How did I find that out? Well, it happens that I was looking at her mother's page, and the reason why I was looking at her mother's page was that in my investigation of the kidnapping of an unaccompanied minor from the Agape shelter run by Reverend Rivera, Pastor Rivera, Albert Rivera, he gave me a whole list of names and phone numbers and WhatsApp conversations that included members of the Caravan Support Network, now known as the Border Support Network, formerly known as the Asylum Seekers Caravan Support Network. And it included activists, and it included, apparently, congressional staffers. It included documentary filmmakers, journalists, so-called journalists, etc. I started going down the list to see who's in there. Among them, I've told you, is Bridges of Love Across Borders, Bertie Gutierrez, who said in those WhatsApp messages that the person that took this child could not be trusted. I wanted to know who else was in this WhatsApp conversation and what are they connected to and whom. Turns out one of them is Sophia Maria de Loreto Chuddy, and she works for Representative Barragan, the same representative that you saw yelling at Department of Homeland Security's Kirstjen Nielsen. We will also be talking about Sophia Maria's connection, direct work with Otro Lado and the Border Rights Project, and Nicole Ramos. And of course, I will also show you how Sophia Marie is raising money through the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, and how that relief fund and Otro Lado have engaged in marriages of migrants in Mexico. Fraudulent, illegal marriages in some cases, according to the Pastor Rivera. In addition to that, I will talk about how ASRF Relief Fund helps the San Diego Rapid Response Network, which is umbrellaed by their fiscal agent, the Jewish Family Services. I will also show you how Border Support Network activists, including Sophia Marie, are accused of exploiting the Caravan. Activists from the Border Support Network are also accused of kidnapping a migrant child, as I told you, as well as the accusations of Otro Lados making false documents for fraudulent asylum claims. That and more on tonight's show. But first, I want to thank all of those of you who have supported our work, who have donated to our work, and who share out our programming, as well as send us topics and comments. Duke, how can folks get a hold of us?
I think get a hold of us a lot of different ways. And thank you, and thank you for watching. Facebook has been a really popular way of people getting a hold of us. Just go to 88.1 FM Fargo-Moorhead in Facebook, and you can send us attached messages, screenshots, videos, all the things that people have been doing that have been really, really helpful to us. We do thank you for that. Also, you can email Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. If you're listening in the Fargo-Moorhead area, driving around in your car listening to our show, you can also contact us on our message line. You can call 701-566-0917. Again, that number is 701-566-0917. And you don't have to be in the Fargo-Moorhead area to call that number. You can call that number too and leave a message. Sometimes we may put your message on the air. So people have been doing that over time. Another way you can get a hold of us is that you can tweet us at media_PPP. Again, that's media_PPP. Also, kpppfm.com. That's our main website that we use for our radio station. That's where we put the videos and we put the audio files, and when they get prepared to go on the air, some of them go up there. So the audio files always go on there, but sometimes they don't go on the air here. Sometimes they're too hard to edit. Sometimes they have too many swear words in them. And, it depends on what gets edited and gets put out there. But you can go to kpppfm.com, go to the programs and look under a Mexican Crossing Lines. You'll see every video that we've done, and we've been uploading them to Facebook, or to YouTube. And YouTube, the channel is Duke1517. If you go to Duke1517 on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. We have a bunch of other material on there too. It goes way back in the past. I've had that channel for a long, long time. And please do that and subscribe, and put the little bell on there so you get alerted. And I'd like to say that we do thank everybody who's been working with us and who's been supporting us, who's been listening to us, and who's done research for us and sent us information. It's very invaluable, and we really appreciate it. We are a nonprofit, non-commercial radio station in the Fargo-Moorhead community. We are live streaming on Facebook, but we also use much of our material on Facebook, and we make it into audio shows for our local audience in Fargo-Moorhead. We rely on people for your support because we're not commercial, and any donation that's made to our organization is a tax-deductible donation. It's used wisely. We have receipts. We give receipts. Anytime anyone makes a donation, I'll always send an email that has the actual donation number and all that stuff on it, that there's actually a recording that was sent to us and that we received it, and some little thank you, I might say. So we'd really appreciate it if people continue to support us, and please go to kpppfm.com/donate and read a little bit more about us and make a donation to our nonprofit today. It would really, really help us. And again, I thank everybody who's been supporting us, sticking with us, giving us information, and working with us. You've all been very wonderful, and we really appreciate it.
And I have some exciting news to tell you, or I think I'll have some very exciting news to talk to you about tomorrow, so I hope that you guys are all going to be here for that show. The story that I brought to you about this child that was kidnapped, you can find it at ToriSays.com. That's Tori Says. And my article is there. It is titled, American Activist Accused of Kidnapping Caravan Migrant Child. This was an interview that I did with Pastor Albert Rivera from the Agape Shelter in Tijuana. And I will share that article link in the comments of the show so that you guys can go find it, share it, read it. I broke this story thanks to the help of Oscar El Blue Ramirez, a reporter from Tijuana, commentator and reporter, broadcaster out there, who told me about what happened with this pastor. Now, I had been looking for this pastor ever since the activist had been in Tijuana and had been misrepresenting what was occurring with the standoff with the federal police there. There was a lot of misrepresentation and outright lies, misinterpretations. And I mean by that, they were interpreting what was being said in Spanish incorrectly to the American public. And it was just frustrating. People were being misinformed. I felt the need to intervene with using my language skills, my translating skills, and to send this information, my reports, my shows, to people that are reporters in Mexico. That's how I actually spoke to Alfredo Alvarez. That's how I met Oscar El Blue. That's how I ended up interviewing other people from Border Network News.
Yes.
They're doing a fine job. In addition to Mr. Berquam, that I can see these stories, which I've already written about and talked about a long time ago, like I said, thanks to the collaboration, the international collaboration between myself here at A Mexican Crossing Lines on 88.1 FM radio with radio personalities and TV personalities and media people in Mexico. And those people coming on my show and collaborating and me talking to them and sending them information. We are helping each other learn exactly what is going on with this border support network and the people that are in that group. The latest of that has come through Pastor Albert Rivera, who shared the information from these WhatsApp conversations about these activists. That's where I found, as I showed you in previous shows, Miss Sophia Maria de Loreto Chudy. And I had already showed you that on her page, there was a lot of posts from and about Al Otro Lado. This one is one where she's reposting a post of Nicole Ramos from Al Otro Lado complaining about how the Grupo Beta, Mexicans, like enforcement arm of their immigration authority out there, who were, according to Nicole Ramos, who were harassing her and her staff, saying that they weren't real lawyers. Maybe they were just saying it's illegal for you to practice law in another country where you're not licensed. Anyway, here's her part of her post. You can see there. She was posting on March 6th, reposted by Miss Sophia Marie. And it starts off by saying, today at the 101st consecutive day is the 101st consecutive day that Al Otro Lado's Border Rights Project has operated human rights monitoring at the U.S. port of entry in Tijuana. And then it goes on to complain that this Grupo Beta, again, this is the legal authority that is working with immigration in Mexico. They said, according to Nicole Ramos, that these were not real lawyers and that what they were doing was illegal. And they considered these statements by Grupo Beta, alleged statements by Grupo Beta, harassment. And this is what Miss Sophia Marie posted, and this is what her mother commented. It says, Joan De Loreto says, I called Senator Merkley's office, the same Senator Merkley that recently appeared at the Agape shelter. Okay, this is very interesting to me because they're so closely together. In fact, Joan De Loreto, who it turns out is Sophia Marie's mother, also tags Ron Wyden, another one of the members of Congress that has asked for an investigation into why CBP, Homeland Security, FBI, and others are investigating and have a database of people that they are, putting into second screenings and questioning at the border. This list that we've been talking about now for a while. All of these members of Congress are asking for investigation. They want Congress to be told, why are these journalists and people being investigated? They want to get to the bottom of whether or not Border Patrol and Homeland Security are violating the rights of these individuals. And so I found out by going to Miss Joan De Loreto's page, that is the mother of Sophia, because she posted the video I shared a clip of earlier. Let's watch the whole thing, and I will read what it says on the screen if I can. Try to do it real fast here.
And you let kids be separated without tracking them. Do you know how outrageous that is, Madam Secretary?
Democratic Congresswoman just shredded Trump's Homeland Security Secretary for cruelty separating refugee babies from their parents. It started off good, and then it gets even better.
Let me tell you, Madam Secretary, either you're lying to this committee or you don't know what's happening at the border. And I have been there firsthand, and I have seen it twice. More recently, it just happened on Saturday when I happened to be crossing the border with my mother. And I heard a gentleman say, I'm from Honduras, I want to apply for asylum. He was already at the turnstile at the Ped West entry. And the agent said, sir, unless you have a visa, you need to leave. You need to go away. They didn't say what you just said people do. They didn't say, here is where you go get on a list. They didn't say, here is the information where you go get access to counsel. As a matter of fact, I pulled out my phone, I started to record, and you know what? I was asked to stop recording. Why? Because they don't want the American people knowing what is happening at that southern border. And Madam Secretary, I don't know if you know what's happening or if this is happening without you knowing, but it's totally unacceptable. And as a member of this committee, you're darn right I'm going to hold you accountable for knowing what's happening at the bottom. Do you know that 2 members of Congress had to sleep overnight and spend 14 hours in the cold on the concrete at the Otay Mesa port of entry so that Maria, the woman who was tear gassed at the port of entry, would be allowed to present herself because she was on U.S. soil, and legally that's what asylum allows? Did you know that?
Ma'am, what I know is I would ask you...
Yes or no? Did you know that 2 members of Congress had to do that?
I know that we have a process.
Okay, you obviously don't know. But see, this is what I'm saying. You don't know these things. 2 members of Congress. Does it take 2 members of Congress to be there to witness somebody presenting themselves for asylum at the port of entry? That's not what the law says. Are you familiar with the asylum laws, Madam Secretary?
Yes.
Where in the asylum law does it say that when you present yourself at a port of entry, and by the way, when you're on U.S. soil, that you could be sent by an agent to another port of entry? Is it anywhere in the asylum law?
What we're trying to do is process...
It's not in there. I know, just it's a yes or no. It's not in there. Because what you all are doing is not within the confines of the law. You talk about a list. Under what authority is there in U.S. law that a list could be started to have people wait in Mexico? Do you have that authority?
Yes, ma'am.
What is under that, what authority?
The authority is to do all that we can to protect the migrants coming here. So as
okay, well, that's not what the asylum law says.
The asylum law says...
And I would ask, can you produce every single list at the port of entry that's under U.S.?
We do not have the list, to be clear. The list is in Mexico.
So you have the authority to do a list, but you don't have access to a list? And you don't control that list?
What I mean by the list, ma'am, is that...
So you're basically farming this out to the Mexican authorities?
Any of your questions?
Well, you don't have answers.
But how do you know? Because you're not giving me the opportunity.
Because these are simple yes or no questions. Authority is, hey, there's this law, this is what it's under, and you haven't done that. The very last thing I just want to say, because my time is up, is you said that you waited to give direction on how to implement the zero tolerance policy because you wanted to do it with compassion. Do you know how outrageous that sounds? You wanted to separate children and families, and you wanted to do it with compassion. So in the meantime, you didn't do anything at all, and you let kids be separated without tracking them. Do you know how outrageous that is, Madam Secretary? You have no feeling, no compassion, no empathy here.
Gentlelady's time has expired.
I yield back.
That's by Occupy Democrats. And the Oscar goes to Representative Barragan for the most dramatic scene on the floor of Congress. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What did you think of her scream? I mean, she was like, like the whole time.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You know, it was that typical, too. I'm not going to really let you answer. I was kind of curious, well, how can she respond to that? You know, what's she going to respond to?
She was never allowed.
And because I was curious what her justifications would be, you know, and the representative was actually, you know, she was saying things that were true, you know, but at the same time she was simplifying it and dragging her through. And what's her name? Kirsten Nielsen.
It's spelled really weird.
She looks so tired. I'm like, she doesn't like this job, I can tell. And, you know,
well,
she says, I don't like being
being
here.
Yelled at the entire time and never allowed it to. She talked over her on every single question.
Yeah.
She did not allow her to answer a single thing. And then this is a victory. That video was a victorious video of badassery on the part of Democrats holding accountable the Trump administration.
Really? That one?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, okay, it wasn't conclusive. It wasn't really getting to, you know, breaking her down to actually have her say some of the truth about that. Their department is confused and they don't have good policy and they have bad leadership, you know, and they didn't break her down to that point to even have her admit anything.
It was so interesting to me because I have to tell you, when I first saw that video, I mean, let's not lie. A lot of members of Congress are very good actors, and when there's a camera on them, they go into acting mode. But this one was just like off the wall, and I thought, So bizarre, because it specifically has to do with members of Congress being at the border wall and spending the night. And I'm like, is she connected to the people being investigated for their proximity to Pueblos Sin Fronteras? You know, that investigation I told you about that has to do with the Interpol and the FBI and Homeland Security? And I believe it also has to do with that list. I believe it also has to do with that list and what's going on with human smuggling.
Oh, yeah.
People doing this for profit, of course. But I know that the allegations made by the pastor are not singular. I know that there are more than one case of children being removed from places in Mexico and then magically ending up in the United States. And I want to explore further what this woman has to do with all of that. So I looked at Joan de Loreto's mother page, and this is what she had posted. She said, "This congresswoman grilling Homeland Security's Kirsten Nielsen today is who my daughter works for." So there's a confirmation from Mama, proud Mama, that Sophia Marie de Loreto Chudy works for Congresswoman Barragan. This is the same video I just played for you.
Yep.
Next, we have Joan de Loreto Border Rights Project sponsorship. And this is what that looks like. Do you have that one?
No, I don't have that one. Sorry.
Oh. Okay. Well, I will tell you what it says. This is a post of Joan de Loreto's about an evening in support of refugee relief. It was a cause on March 6th held at the Levinson home, and she said, "This is Sophia's fundraising event. I know you can't make it to LA tonight, so there's a link here to donate while working with the Border Rights Project at Otro Lado. Sophia has been putting her money into asylum seekers' commissary funds so that they can make calls to their sponsors in the detention facilities."
Okay.
And then in parentheses, she says, "like me," because she's a sponsor, you see.
I see.
She's a sponsor. Sophia's mom's a sponsor. She's one of the sponsors. And after they tell these folks to go and put themselves into detention facilities and fill the detention facilities to capacity to try to break the system, right? Something I think, and I will continue to say, is inhumane, is costing us taxpayer money that we shouldn't be using for this purpose, and all for naught, because most of these folks, as you know, do not qualify for asylum and will end up getting deported after we spend a whole ton of money on something that I don't think is very humane. I know that these members of Congress, I know that these activists, and I know that the folks that are related to the Border Support Network, the Caravan Support Network, they know exactly what goes on in these detention facilities. They know exactly how cold they are. They refer to them all the time as the hieleras, because they know that people go in there and they're literally frozen. They know that people lack adequate medical care inside facilities, that children are separated from their families and lost, that parents are deported back to their country without their kids, that people are sexually assaulted and abused, that people are force-fed, people are put in solitary confinement, and people are killed. They know that. In fact, they talk about it all the time and raise money off of the dead bodies. And yet, and here's the interesting thing, they're funneling thousands of people into these detention facilities, which they cannot guarantee that they can get them out of. But hey, they can also do fundraisers so that they can put money in the commissary of the people that they funneled into the detention facilities. And as a person that has been a human rights activist for migrants, for refugees, that people that are trying to get their citizenship in this country, a translator, have worked with the Department of Human Services, I can tell you that this is not appreciated. This is not wanted. This is not the way that you help. This is the way you exploit vulnerable people and put them in harm's way. That's what this truly is. That's what these folks are really doing. And they're calling it social justice. They're calling themselves warriors. They're calling themselves heroes for costing America millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for no good reason. Well, I guess if political means to an end is a good reason, then I guess they do have that as a good reason. They hope to make people hate each other in this country even more, hate migrants even more, change policies that will be harsher against migrants. They will increase hate crimes. They will increase the likelihood that people are more ramped up about fixing and building a bigger, more beautiful border wall. I mean, everything that they claim that they stand against, they are literally fueling with their actions and their words. But I'm supposed to believe that they want the best for these migrants. Why is it acting so jankety?
I have no idea. All my numbers are good.
But it's very, very janky.
I know, but all my numbers are good, so I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why. I should have rebooted before we started, but didn't do that.
Is it streaming at a greater?
Nope. All the numbers are good. There's
the higher quality or something that it makes it like that.
Nope. None of that's on my dashboard. None of the numbers say that.
Really?
I have plenty of RAM, plenty of memory, plenty of CPU power.
Strange.
It's all janky. Almost makes me want to start over. But
we're not going to do that. Don't you dare do that.
Nope, I won't do that.
It's kind of sucky though because. Yeah, it says the video is freezing, but the sound is fine. That's what somebody just said. And I apologize for that. And if you want to watch this back later on YouTube, it won't be doing that? Or will it? Is it going to be jankety no matter what?
I couldn't tell you.
Wow. That is so screwed up. I hope it gets better for everyone out there. I'm going to try to move as little as possible, although I don't think that will help any. I don't think it'll make any difference whatsoever. It won't make any difference one way or another. Anyway, let us move on. Here we go. So I wanted to show you that people in Barragan's office, or Barragan herself, Representative Barragan, did go and stay on the border, stay with Al Otro Lado's lawyer, Nicole Ramos, specifically. And I went to Jean Guerrero's page. You remember KPBS? The people that put out the article about the activists from the left, including Evan Duke III and Lilith Sinclair and others that were there at the border helping people cross into the United States. Same Jean Guerrero had a video on her page that showed a little clip of this Representative Barragan at the border with Al Otro Lado's Nicole Ramos. And here is one of her posts from her Twitter feed in which she is showing that BAM put out, this is By Any Means Necessary, one of the groups within that border support network organization page on Facebook. And in it, it says that people can ask for asylum. It says, how do you prepare yourself to request asylum? By Any Means Necessary also says in this communication that they are urging people to cross into the United States by any means necessary. In other words, illegally. They are urging them to break the law. Here is a post by Jean Guerrero from her Twitter account entitled Jean Guerrero Al Otro Lado, BAM. And if you could put that up on the screen, Duke, it says, the left-wing militant group BAM continues to spread flyers encouraging migrants in Tijuana to cross the border illegally. At alotrolado.org, attorneys say, while it is true that people who cross illegally have a right to seek asylum, doing so puts them at risk of cartels and injury. At KPBS News. So it appears from this post that Al Otro Lado's attorney, probably Nicole Ramos herself, or Nora Phillips or Erica Pinheiro, were asked about this and said, hey, guess what? We are not recommending that you cross illegally. We wouldn't do that. Or at least they don't want to get caught. They don't want you to know that that is exactly what they're doing. So they're saying, oh, no, we have nothing to do with the kind of propaganda BAM is spreading that people should cross illegally and that they should do these things by any means necessary. And you've seen that in other articles I've shared with you. When one brand is burnt and BAM is burnt because they be criming, because they be beating people up, because they be doing things they shouldn't be doing, when they burn themselves because they're unpalatable, even for these Antifa anarchist connected people, even for them, a lot of these people are unpalatable because they're beating people up, innocent people up. They're creating hate crimes. They're doing all sorts of reprehensible, unfathomable things that the American public is just not okay with, like violence by any means necessary. Condones violence. So of course Al Otro Lado has to hold them at arm's length, but in truth, I have shown you they work hand in hand. Okay? Don't let them fool you. Jean Guerrero also posted about Al Otro Lado and BAM and KPBS. Did we just do that one?
Let me look.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Sorry. Here is KPBS's video clip from December 21st about the woman that was in the pictures all over the news with her two little kids on the day that they tried to cross. About, hundreds of people tried to cross into the United States. They clashed with Border Patrol, and a woman was captured running with her children amidst the the tear gas. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
That same woman is the woman that appears on that tweet. If you could put that up again and leave it up for me so I can read it, I would appreciate that. It is the one with these two women, with this woman, and she's got her 5 children at the border.
Was it there?
It is the video. Oh, sorry. Let's go to the one that says video KPBS Rep Barragan. It's in scene 2. That one. Yeah. Okay. Please play that.
Well, how about you take the 2 members of Congress to go see the capacity?
Let me get my assistant for
that'd be fantastic.
I'm not saying you can't do it. But I have to
try to access to put themselves on the wait list prevents unaccompanied minors.
That's Nicole Ramos talking to Representative Barragan.
Okay.
That's the kind of access Nicole Ramos and Al Otro Lado have. That's the kind of close-knit relationship they have. Two people who are being investigated that are on that leaked list, that have had their fast passes revoked, like Nicole Ramos has, or have been denied entry into the United States, into Mexico, like Erica Pinheiro, or have been deported from Mexico, as Nora Phillips has. But Representative Barragan don't care. She's going to hang out with Nicole Ramos, and they're going to do what they have done, like in the video that preceded that, tongue lashing she gave Kirsten Nielsen, where she's at the border and she's arguing with another border agent and filming the border agent and telling the border agent in this sort of gotcha video that, hey, you're violating the law. Did you know you're violating the law? And then when she gets all up in her face, the lady's like, go away.
Yeah.
And she's like, aha, I'm a member of Congress and you're in big fat trouble.
That's right.
Yeah. So she tries, there's that aspect to it. And I have to tell you, if you watch Al Otro Lado's Nicole Ramos's videos, I think they took a page out of her acting book. Because her videos are cray-cray. Her videos are her like, F-bomb this and F-bomb that. And I'm just sick of this F-bomb country. And I'm like, whoa. Like, that's her modus operandi. And that's how she's talking to people. Like, she is tough and she is sick And have you noticed the histrionics of a lot of these folks, whether it's the crying or the like, why don't you come and do this thing? And I don't even want to do, damn it. Like Lolly B, like just,
Yeah.
they're very, there are lots of emotions in there. And it's over the top acting, if you ask me. Here is the woman that was tear gassed in a screenshot. Guerrero also posted about this. This is the reporter from KPBS. There were videos to go with this, but I did not grab them. Or did I? Maybe we do have them. I don't know. We'll see in a minute.
We'll find out.
But here's the thing. Jean Guerrero says, a Honduran woman whose image went viral after she fled tear gas fired by U.S. authorities near San Diego's border was released on parole with her 5 kids and must report to ICE on January 3rd. I don't want to talk. I'm nervous. Read the story. There she is. And if you scroll down further, there is another tweet about the same woman. It says, breaking, Maria Mesa. That's the name of the woman that was in the pictures of the tear gas with the kids. Maria Mesa and 5 children, Honduran migrants whose image went viral during the tear gas incident at the border, were released into the U.S. while asylum proceedings unfold. So they got to go to the U.S. and they got to stay.
Oh, wow.
And do you know what I remember about her?
She doesn't like beans.
Can you reset the chat? No, that was the frijole lady, dude.
Okay.
What I remember most about her was that she was one. What happened there?
Every time I look,
Could you stop it?
every time I look at him, he's
I don't know. Something's messed up.
Yeah, we should fix that.
It's not going to happen until we get to scene 4.
Okay, so let's not get to scene 4 yet. Instead, why don't you reset the chat box? And then what we'll do is we'll talk about this, okay? So what I remember about this woman is that she was staying in the street outside Benito Juarez. She was one of the people that refused, even though she had 5 kids, even though she had children, little children. She was one of those people that refused against logic, against good sense, against, you know, a desire to care for your kids as you in your family and do better for them, as many of these migrants claim. To go to El Barretal. She refused to go to El Barretal. She refused to go to any other shelter. She faithfully was a puppet of these activists. And look what she got. Look what she got for staying where she was told to stay.
Yeah.
She got crossed into the United States, and she is awaiting asylum now, folks.
Wow.
Guess what the basis of the asylum is?
But
Well, it's manufactured by Al Otro Lado, just like I showed you that the LGBT contingent led by Pitaya Queen made up an attack and a fire that happened at the shelter run by their friend Bertie Gutierrez and Mark Lane of Minority Humanitarian Foundation, and that they had the shelter director, who is Bertie Gutierrez and her staff, sign a letter given to Al Otro Lado that Al Otro Lado used in their asylum claims, saying that these persons were persecuted and they were trying to kill them in Mexico, in Tijuana. So I showed you that before in that Teen Vogue article. Remember I showed you how the writer was connected to the people, the activists, Mark Lane, almost everyone in the article, including the article writer, were all connected in their work together. This tight-knit network works together. They have it all, you know, the fix is in, from soup to nuts, beginning to end. In this article in the New York Times that I will be sharing with you, you can see that they literally talk about, go to New York Times Maria Mesa. Maria Mesa. There it is, New York Times. And you can see right there in the screen capture where it's talking about how they decided to request asylum, okay? It says that lawyers with Al Otro Lado said that after the photograph, lawyers, you're on the wrong paragraph there. It says lawyers with El Otro Lado said that after the photograph spread across social media, Ms. Mesa became a target of Paloma Zuniga, a right-wing media personality known as Paloma for Trump, as her Facebook page is called. Commenters on Ms. Zuniga's page said taking care of the family should be the responsibility of the children's father, and suggested that she would be unable to both work and care for her children. Ms. Zuniga tried to visit Ms. Mesa in the shelter where she had been staying in Tijuana and posted several images of her, prompting Ms. Mesa to move to another location, said Ann Joseph, another lawyer who accompanied Ms. Mesa on Monday. Okay, well, let me tell you something that I know. I don't know a lot about Paloma. I've seen some of her videos. One thing I do know is that in her interactions with this particular woman, she was always just checking on her kids and talking to her, and they were quite amicable with each other. In fact, I'm going to show you a snippet of her talking to this woman right before this woman crossed into the United States, and you'll see exactly who she's talking to. I believe it is a volunteer from the organization El Otro Lado or somebody closely associated with them. I'm not sure, but maybe you guys can help me figure out who she is, this woman that I'm going to show you in the video. There's a couple of them. They were constantly out there. And I don't think that Paloma posed a serious risk. I think that this woman, Maria Mesa, who frequently talked to and whose kids would go running and hugging on Paloma, did not see her as a threat either. I don't think this woman saw Paloma as a threat, and I don't think her kids saw her as a threat. I think they used the fact that Paloma is from the far right, or that she is Paloma for Trump, as an excuse to say that she is a threat, and that the lawyers put this woman up to making Paloma use of her photos or talking to her as a threat, so she could have a credible asylum claim. It's very speculative on my part, but for those who watch Paloma for Trump, and those of you who have seen the videos in which she interacts with this woman and her kids, there wasn't anything threatening about them. Okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Aside from whatever you may think of her, whatever you may have seen about her, she did not, I don't think, form the basis for a credible asylum claim for this woman. Mm-hmm. She may be scary, but she's not that big of a threat.
Yeah, really.
Not to Maria Mesa and her kids. I don't think she was a threat to Maria Mesa and her kids. Anyway, here is a video of Paloma with talking to Maria, and I'm going to translate what Maria and her are saying in Spanish as best as I can.
Okay, before you do that, I'm going to go to that scene, and there's a video, Run a Wild. It might be the one we're going to watch, but I might have to shut off. Just hold on and see what happens there.
Every time I look at him, he's funny.
You have two videos layered on the same spot. Okay, can you start? All right, can you start the one at KPBS Maria Mesa first?
Sure.
Let's play that one.
Here we go.
This is just showing her being released into the United States to await asylum. And the children are all in the car, and the kids are waving through the window as they leave. This was the video that was posted with the KPBS tweet by Jean Guerrero. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's watch the Paloma for Trump video in which this is before the day that she's going to go to the border at night and cross into the United States undocumented. This is what happened. Paloma is talking to her on the streets outside Benito Juárez.
Every time I look at him, he's funny. ¿Qué te preguntaron, María?
What did they ask you, Maria?
Lo mismo de siempre?
The same as always? If I said that tonight we're going to go cross over tonight, al otro lado, to the other side. And she said, is she a reporter or what? I don't know. What did she ask you? She told me that when we get on the other side, we should be careful. Not because of the police. We can. She told me that she wants us
¿Te dijo ella eso ahorita?
she wishes us luck, and she says we can find her. She can find us. To give that I can make a pact with her, and that I can give her my phone number, and she can find her. But she's not a journalist. Huh.
This lady here just hold on.
Paloma asked her if she asked.
What publication are you guys with?
We're not.
Oh,
we're not. He's got a camera.
Did she just tell her to cross illegally?
Did she tell her to cross illegally?
Yeah.
No.
I think that's what she understood.
She is crossing illegally.
Oh,
No,
she is crossing
here.
illegally.
No. She told me this morning she would never cross illegally. People have offered her to cross illegally, and she wouldn't do it. And I think she just understood that woman over there told her to cross illegally. Unreal. Unbelievable. Can I ask you something?
Yep.
Did you just tell this woman to cross into the United States illegally?
No, I did not tell
Oh, that's what she understood. Maybe, is there a misunderstanding?
I asked her what she was doing.
Oh, okay.
Who are you?
A citizen
Please
of
stop.
Tijuana.
That's great, but can you please stop filming me?
No, you're in a public area, and you just told her to cross illegally. You're a criminal. That's what you are.
Okay, lady.
Fucking criminal trying to undermine America. Le acabo de decir que se cruzan, que se avientan. Guys, she just told her to cross illegally. She's from an NGO, and she just told her to cross illegally. She said, and if you do it, good luck. I hope you get across. Yeah, I know. He's totally staging the photos. Sonia is not one of the organizers, guys. Guys, she wouldn't tell me, the guy wouldn't tell me what organization they're with. She just told her to cross illegally. I don't want to start drama because I don't want to start drama because I don't want to get thrown out of here. You know, there's very few people left, and cops don't want any more drama. She told her, she got her number, and she said, cross illegally and I'll help you. She goes, I'm on the other side. She told her she was on the other side. I thought she was a reporter, and she took down her information to try to help her get across. They are out of control. They're out here recruiting people to get them to cross. That's not, Carly, that's too good of a word for her. I feel like taking her by the hair and just throwing her on the ground.
Now, Paloma, calm down.
They're not reporters.
They are not.
They're the people that are staging all those photos and to put pressure on the American government.
Tengo a mi hermana acá hace poquito, me tiró y hasta allá y ahora me entregaron.
What do you want me to tell her?
Parece que 5 días. El día que no sé si tengo cosas de bueno, esta vez se tiró él.
Wow, good job.
So next, we're going to move on. I wanted to show you. Paloma caught what was happening there. She heard the woman tell her, give me your number. Because the woman said, Maria Mesa told her, I'm going to cross tonight. They're making arrangements, folks. Are you catching this? Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to cross tonight. Okay, give me your number. I'll catch you on the other side, right? Al otro lado. She said, I'll be there. And good luck. They're making plans. The plans are made in tandem, and then they try to pretend they're not doing it. They're not doing that. But Paloma caught it. That's what happened right before you see this woman end up at the border. And then it comes out in the New York Times that the reason this woman had to go to the border, the reason she had to flee Mexico, the reason she demands asylum is because of Paloma. What? That's right. It's because of Paloma. So here is the number of people that were sharing these videos. Here's December 18 video of Nicole Ramos at Otay. You have that video?
No, I don't, but I can get it for you real quick, if you don't mind.
What? That was a video that was very, 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 very important. I'm going to share.
And you let kids be separated without tracking them.
No, that's
Do
the one.
you know how outrageous?
I know, but it's the way it brings things up.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to tell you all of the people that shared this video that Duke's about to bring up, and people that were sharing others of Nicole Ramos's videos. Doug McLean, another one of the people that's on that list.
Good afternoon. This is Nicole Ramos, Director of the Border Rights Project of Otro Lado. We are here at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry in Tijuana with 8 unaccompanied minors, a family, a mother with 5 children, and a single male, all who have been determined to be at high risk here in Tijuana. They are on the U.S. side of the Mexican U.S. territory. They are on U.S. territory. CBP is refusing to process these 15 asylum seekers. They're saying there's not enough space, even though they are obligated to accept unaccompanied minors under the Trafficking Victim Protection Act. We've been waiting here for 2 hours. We are here with 2 congressmen, Congressman Barragan and Congressman Gomez. They are refusing to provide us any more information about the capacity in the port of entry. They're refusing entry into the port of entry to expect to see if there is capacity. The U.S. government is violating international law and U.S. federal law in refusing to accept these asylum seekers. This is an issue of international concern. We ask that you distribute this video widely. We don't know what to do. We've been waiting here for 2 hours. We have press here, we have congressmen, and we are surrounded by CBP officers that are in riot gear. There are Mexican immigration agents here, and we simply don't understand what is the problem, why they cannot accept this small group of asylum seekers that have been determined to be at high risk. We have evaluated their cases. They are not safe here in Mexico. They are at grave risk of danger, death, extortion, kidnapping, you name it. And frankly, we should all be tired of this. Our administration continually violates the law. They say if people present themselves at a port of entry, at any port of entry, they will be accepted. The U.S. government demands that asylum seekers follow the law, and when they attempt to follow the law, the U.S. government breaks the law. And this is simply not acceptable, and we should not accept this from officials whose budget we fund through our tax dollars. The United States government is the most powerful government in the world and is one of the wealthiest. They were aware that refugees were coming to the border, and instead of creating spaces for them to process people quickly and with the dignity that all human beings deserve, they've chose to install barbed wire and soldiers and CBP in riot uniforms. This is simply not acceptable, and we must raise our voices, and we must demand better of our elected officials, and we must demand better of our federal law enforcement agents who are obligated to uphold federal law as well as international law to which we have all agreed to. Please diffuse this message worldwide. Thank you.
You know, I never really give too much credence to people that sit and talk about, I'm a taxpayer, you know, the taxpayer argument to politicians. It's like, yeah. You know, it's tax time. How many of you are trying to save money on your taxes? Trying to get the biggest refunds you can get, you know. We ask you to make a tax-deductible contribution to our organization. You know what? It saves you money in taxes. Mm-hmm. You know, so this whole argument that the taxpayer, that one always like, I always think about that and think, well, you know, maybe not as much, you know.
Well, the other thing about this post and many of the videos that she had is that she always brags about the fact that she's got Congress members. Now we know one of them, at least, is Representative Barragan, that has a staffer that is working directly with the Caravan Support Network, folks. Working directly with Otro Lado. And you know who shared videos from Nicole Ramos? Doug McLean, one of the people that's on that leaked list of people being investigated. Mm-hmm. Doug McLean, who has been stopped on a number of occasions at the border and questioned by Homeland Security. Doug McLean, who runs Indigenous Life Movement. Doug McLean not only shared it in one spot, he shared it in a whole bunch of Bernie pages that he probably helps admin on. He shared them on platforms that, like Doug McLean, have a lot of followers. And so did Vanessa Dundon. The Vanessa Dundon that was down in Mexico, in Tijuana, with Doug McLean. The Vanessa Dundon that runs a page with Jay Ponte. Jay Ponte, the guy that was raising money with Yes We Can's Estefania Rebelon, the Hollywood actress raising money for the little school at El Barretal. The same people. Nicole Ramos also had comments on her videos by Mark Lane of the Minority Humanitarian Foundation. Of the people that stayed out there, Mark Lane of the Minority Humanitarian Foundation and also working with the San Diego Rapid Response Network, he was one of them. So was Ari Harnorbar, because they were on either side of that border to toss people over or to catch them on the other side. Mm-hmm. I mean, figuratively, but also almost literally, quite literally. I mean, I don't have it on tape, but I think Homeland Security does. I'm hoping. Anyway, Nicole Ramos also has comments on her videos by Bridge of Blood Cross Borders, Bertie Gutierrez, as well as another one of the activists that appears in the WhatsApp conversations with Pastor Albert Rivera, along with Miss Chudy, Leticia Isabel Guzman Amador. And we'll get back to her later in another show. We'll do a deep dive on her. But here is KPBS's. Oh, we already did the video of her, right? We did. Mm-hmm. Here's an article in Splinter News about Representative Barragan and Jimmy Gomez. Jimmy Gomez is another representative. They're two members of Congress that stayed through the night to help asylum seekers cross the border. This was just one of many of the stories.
Okay.
There's a bunch of these stories that came out about her, Nanette Barragan. Did you know that was her name?
No.
Well, Representative Barragan is called, actually her full name is Nanette Diaz Barragan. She's an American attorney and politician. And she's a representative for California's 44th Congressional District. Has been since 2017, Duke.
Wow.
Yes. In this article, it says that she and Jimmy Gomez attempted to gain access to the Otay Mesa port of entry with a group of 15 asylum seekers, but were told that officials only had capacity to process 8 unaccompanied children, and the rest would have to go to another port of entry, according to the San Diego Union Tribune. On Twitter, the representative shared updates on the progress of asylum seekers. Barragan and Gomez, both of whom represent the Los Angeles area, tweeted, the CBP officials told the remaining asylum seekers, which included a mother and her 5 children. Mm-hmm. Guess who that is? Oh, yeah. That's Maria Mesa. That's Maria Mesa. That's the lady with the tear gas. You see it appear over and over again. So we know for a fact that it was this border entry. It was Nicole Ramos. It was Al Otro Lado. And it was that family. One of the families that stayed where the activists connected to BAM, connected to Antifa, and connected to anarchists told them to stay. Where they were told to stay against the wishes of the people, against sanitary conditions, against health and code violations, against their own better judgment, where they were told to stay so they could be crossed into the United States. And those that did stay have gotten a very different experience than those that followed the law. If you follow the law and you don't antagonize Mexicans and you don't leave hell in your wake everywhere you go in Mexico, then you don't get help from these activists and these Americans. You get left in the middle of Mexico, in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have a prayer. If you want to follow the law, if you want to do things right, don't count on these American activists to help you, because that's not what they're there for.
Yep.
But if you break the law, if you lie, if you agree to commit asylum fraud, and maybe throw in a little bit of criming, like, doing drugs or giving drugs to the caravan or helping kidnapped and unaccompanied minor, then you get the fast pass into the U.S. You get the immediate sponsorship. You get the luxury of staying at the fancy houses, going out to eat with them, to the pizza places, and going to the hotels. That's what you get. If you stick with this group, things will happen for you, because they got friends in high places and low. Everywhere. They got friends everywhere. Nanette did, in fact, tweet from this account at Rep Barragan on Twitter, talking about how CBP had detained her staff as they tried to press back into the U.S., holding him at second inspection. Her staff member was held at second inspection. Intimidation tactics at its worst. I wonder if Miss Chudy was also questioned in secondary interrogation at the border. CBP tweeted that families without proper documentation and crossing U.S. borders illegally caused them to hit capacity. Yeah, that's what these folks wanted. They wanted to break the system. And apparently they have members of Congress assisting these activists in doing just that. Did you know that there were members of Congress working with people that were connected directly to the Caravan Support Network? The very people that were accused by Pastor Albert, of kidnapping a migrant child, supplying the migrant caravan with drugs, and working with Otro Lado's lawyers who were performing fake marriages in Mexico? I didn't know that the Congresswoman was working so closely to those activists. I didn't know that she was connected directly to Otro Lado. I didn't know that her staffer, Miss Chudy, was literally working with Nicole Ramos's border network project.
Yeah.
And Representative Jimmy Gomez also tweeted from his account saying, it's 5 a.m. It's very cold out. At Representative Jimmy Gomez slept on the ground with attorneys and asylum seekers. And CBP still refuses to accept our remaining 6. At Kirailnum, at AvaBDC, and at alotrolado_org. Well, you know what they say about that, these people that were sleeping on the ground in the cold outside. Because you know they were doing it all for the appearances. But you know what they say about people that sleep outside on the ground like that for no good reason, don't you?
That they're homeless.
No. Lo pendejo se paga aparte. It's true. Because they didn't have any reason to do that. They're the ones working with the folks that are breaking the system, and they're doing this all for the photo optics. And as I told you, people like Doug McLean were some of the so-called media that were out there that were with them, and including members of Congress that they were basically bragging that they had to back them up. Bertie Gutierrez was also commenting on those. So, you know, they've got the whole network of people that crosses them illegally, that houses them in shelters that will allow them to do illegal things in Mexico. And then the people on this side that are ready to receive them when they get here, right? So, what's the next part of the article say? Families Belong Together tweets, last night, Maria's family, that's Maria Mesa, and unaccompanied minors were allowed to present themselves and pass through at the port of entry. We are hopeful that more refugees will be allowed to do the same. Seeking asylum is their right. And they tagged at, you just heard her say that there was a cage built around all of the people that were there.
Yeah.
And that's on December 18th. So we know that these were the same folks that were with her on that night. Families Belong Together was also there, and they said CBB built a large cage around us and has kept us in the entire night. We've been here with Representative Barragan and Representative Jimmy Gomez and 6 asylum seekers for 15 hours. And then there's a picture of them. And then they posted from Mr. Jimmy Gomez's Twitter, we've left Otay Mesa port of entry after 15 hours waiting for asylum seekers to get processed. Most of the group was taken in, but I spent the night with those at CBP. Refused. CBP kept citing capacity. If there are capacity issues, then show us. At Representative Barragan and I were there, ready and waiting. At CBP told the Union Tribune that, quote, limited resources and a variety of factors influence how much space ports of entry have to process asylum seekers. According to the paper, the legal aid group Al Otro Lado organized the group of 15, selected for how vulnerable they were waiting in Tijuana. A group of attorneys, law students, and other volunteers accompanied the group outside the port, forming a human shield around the migrants to prevent immigration officials from forcing them to cross back into Mexico. Among the group was a Honduran woman named Maria, who was photographed by Reuters running away from tear gas with her 2 young children, both in diapers, last month. After 7 hours in the group, Gomez tweeted that Maria and her children were accepted into the port of entry and applied for asylum after waiting outside the port. So, this is how it's set up.
Yeah.
Soup to nuts, beginning to end. Now you know how they do it. Here is the other video that was done from Paloma for Trump's page, in which she captures a person from Al Otro Lado out talking to the people that are in the streets in front of Benito Juarez shelter. And I want you to listen to what this woman, who says she's only a legal observer, that was a term that was used by a lot of those activists out there, what she says for herself that she is doing out there. Take a listen.
I'm with Al Otro Lado.
El Otro Lado.
Yeah, Otro Lado. I'm not giving the talk clearly, but there's a lawyer at the end of the street. She's blonde. She's speaking to people.
Okay.
And she's giving a talk on immigration topics. So I'm actually a legal observer, and I came here to, because we heard many people might be coming today, and we were worried about police presence.
What do you mean people coming?
More migrants might be coming to
here.
Juarez.
To live here on the street?
Or just because they may not know that the location has been changed, or there may be some rumors that the location that's the new one is not very good. So we don't.
But you
know.
want them going over there, right? Or
I mean, I don't tell anybody where to go. I'm just here to legally observe. But if the police would show up, like we would be there to observe the situation.
Because the police wants to transfer them over there.
I think because the aim is that everyone moves to the new location.
Yeah, I mean, they have no water or anything out here, right?
They have no water.
No electric, no bathrooms.
The other location has its challenges. It's a very dangerous one from what I understand, and it's
really?
very far away.
Okay.
So the problem is it's very hard to get to the border and claim asylum and keep track of your asylum number that is being given out. So people do not feel safe there, even though the facility itself, from what I hear, is very good and much better than this.
So they're being encouraged to stay here, basically.
I don't know if anybody's being encouraged, but I think it's a decision some people are making.
Okay.
We're certainly not encouraging.
So you're
them.
with El Otro Lado?
Al Otro Lado, and
I'm a volunteer.
I'm a volunteer legal observer. And right now I'm just, since there's nothing to observe, I'm telling everybody about the immigration speech that's being given probably in about 15 minutes, and just making sure.
Down there, down the street?
It's going to be at the end of the street.
End of the street?
Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be down there, and it's kind of like...
It's at 1:45, right? Or 1:45?
It's, I think it's actually...
I heard you pass out flyers. I mean, I saw you pass out flyers.
So... you can tell that she doesn't want to say that they're actually encouraging people to stay where they are in the middle of the street, where the people are defecating and urinating in bottles and buckets in unsanitary conditions, blocking commerce, blocking traffic, just so that they can stay close to the border crossing, just so that they can cause problems for Mexico and Mexicans in Tijuana. And she kind of backpedals and backflips away from questions from Paloma. It's like, I'm not telling people what to do, but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but I've been telling them about the speech is going to be happening down the street. And she says, down that way? Oh, no, it's actually this way. And what time is it? 1:45, 1:45? I'm not, it's
sure.
Like, I'm not sure when it is. It's like, oh, yeah, you've been doing that. Okay, yeah, you're very well briefed on the speech coming up. So you don't have any information.
These people are questionable to the max. Questionable. And so is Miss Sophia Maria de Laredo. Let me go to that slide. Let's talk more about her and her involvement. Okay?
All right.
Here she is. This post consists of her page, where you can see that she is effing fuming about that Al Otro Lado post.
Yeah.
That's what she wrote on her page about that same post. But also says that she studied at the University of Oregon, that she's from Eugene, Oregon, and that she manages, and this is the important part, the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the relief fund that she was, but that's not all she does with the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, which is a fundraiser essentially for the project of Al Otro Lado, which is that border project of Al Otro Lado, right? And here is her marrying or wedding photography post from that page that she runs, that she manages, the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund. You see two people getting married, two people kissing in a picture where she writes, this is Sophia Marie's page she manages for Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, and says, the first time I've ever been a wedding photographer. They're marrying people in Mexico.
Yeah, really.
Here's pictures of her posting from El Barretal. You can see that they were there at El Barretal on the date December 10, 2018. And it says, El Barretal Camp, PC at Matt Ain Bull. Matt Ain Bull in Tijuana, Baja California. I do not know whose Twitter handle that is.
Yep, me either.
Then she posts about planning a wedding, because she had to do that too, apparently. And there's a bottle of wine, some chocolates. I like those chocolates, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Those are some of my favorites.
Yep.
There looks like some confetti, maybe some kind of a noisemaker. No, I don't know what that is. Oh, and there's a veil. There's a wedding veil in the background.
Yep.
And the post says, but it was also the first time I've ever planned a wedding.
Oh, yeah.
So at the very bottom of the photo here, it's very light pink. It's hard to read, but that's what it says. And that was the picture right next to the one where she says, the first time I was a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Now, it's also the first time she's ever planned a wedding. And then in this post, she talks about how there's two hands and, you know, they're intertwined. Their fingers are interlaced. And it's from the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund post. And she says, and it's also the first time I've ever signed as
a witness.
A witness. You mean on the fake marriage certificates that are being used in fraudulent, allegedly, according to Pastor Albert Rivera, the same certificates that are being falsely created and used in fraudulent asylum claims, could those be the ones that you're witnessing?
Yeah.
Perhaps? Damn, as people are documenting their crime.
Definitely.
It appears to me that that is what's going on here. Because I don't think they have the right or the license to do that, especially in Mexico. And then in this other post that shows a family, two little kids on the knees of a woman, appears to be their mom, I don't know. It says, my second responsibility this morning was emergency prep for state-sponsored torture. Oh, my God. What is the state-sponsored torture that she speaks of? Oh, she's getting them ready to go into detention.
I see.
Remember, these are the people that support the group Pueblos Sin Fronteras that organizes and brings the caravans illegally through Central America and Mexico. This is also the group that advises them legally through Al Otro Lado and other groups working with them, and that also work directly with the BAM-connected, Antifa, anarchist-connected activists who are advising them, who are exploiting them, who are lying to them, who are telling them how to cross the border, and in many instances, allegedly, according to some of the witnesses that have watched it happen, helping people cross illegally into the United States. Same people working all together. So she's talking about state-sponsored torture that she is helping these folks to go into. Let me get you ready for this horrible state-sponsored torture. This way, please. This way to the state-sponsored torture. She's like,
yes.
All of these people are like, It's horrible what I'm about to tell these people to do to their families. But here I go and do it again. And I'll do it tomorrow too. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people? So it goes on and it says, what that meant, she's going to tell us what she means by the state-sponsored torture, Duke.
I see.
What that meant for me was stripping babies down to their underwear to put the warmest thing they had closest to their bodies so that when they got into the first detention center, otherwise known as the icebox, and they're stripped down to their bottom layer, CBP will have no choice but to leave them in their jackets. And making sure they were aware that they were getting on a van to go be separated from each other and put into a 9°C freezer for the next 3 to 10 days as a means to encourage them to self-deport before being transferred to ICE custody. Look at how well she knows exactly what she's going to put all these families through.
Really.
And they know how long it's going to take. Even 10 days. Think about what that means. An average of 3 to 10 days. She knows how long it takes before they get transferred into ICE custody. And then they sit there in ICE custody for a while before they finally get released out into the public, probably with an ankle monitor because we don't have any more room. They know and they don't care. And they're continuing to fill those detention facilities.
Yeah.
But they are the most humanitarian people in the world. They want you to believe it. Next, Sophia Maria has the Asylum Fund. And on that page, she posts about marriages. She literally shows Polaroid photos, which includes the photo that we first saw, and a bunch of other people.
Wow.
Check it out. Or maybe that's all from the same wedding. It looks like it could be from the same wedding. I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. But there are other pictures, and there are Polaroids. I showed you one on my show when Pastor Albert accused Otro Lado of committing fraud in the case of 2 of the people that were married from his shelter. Guess what? Oscar El Burro Ramirez, Anthony Agüero, and I believe Ben Berkwam all went and interviewed that same pastor, and he showed them all of the same evidence he showed me. So the story is spreading. The story is getting out there. I don't know how you put the genie back in the bottle. I don't think you can. People know what you're doing now. Anyway, she posts these pictures of the wedding saying, and we did this also that they could be recognized legally as a family. Look what she's saying. They wanted to be recognized legally as a family, and they weren't already married, so they fake married them.
Wow.
And then she goes on to say, and will be less likely to be separated when they begin their lengthy process of state-sponsored torture and abuse.
Wow.
State-sponsored torture and abuse that she is preparing everybody for. This was posted on her page on February 6th, folks. And then next she has one about Asylum Fund wedding. In it, she says, can you read that one, Duke?
I can make it bigger and make it. At least we can trust. At least we can hope that when the family gets their number called and they're delivered to Border Patrol custody, that they can use the photos I took of their wedding today and try to avoid being separated when they're put in detention centers. So she's saying that they're going to take these photos from the fake wedding that she took, and they're going to use that to an appeal that they're going to avoid being separated.
Right. At the very top of this meme, which includes this giant arch that is very recognizable in the city of Tijuana, it says, so although there were torrential downpours today, and then it goes on to say the stuff that you said about how these they're hopeful that these people that she just helped to get married can avoid ending up being separated from each other and be recognized as a family when they might not be. Wonder why that would be.
Yeah.
In this next post, Judy says, and this is showing the wall in Tijuana where people cross the gates. It says, every morning at 7 a.m., a tent pops up on which a handwritten list of names is on it. Each number has 10 names associated with it, and each person will wait 4 to 6 weeks for their names to be called off the list. 3 lines form. One for people who are putting their names on the list, one for people who might have their numbers called, and another for people whose names do get ready that day. When their number is called, they are put into vans and delivered to Customs and Border Patrol to begin the asylum process. This list system completely violates immigration laws and encourages an abundance of human rights abuses. This morning, 4 numbers were called. So they have, obviously, as you saw in the initial video when we started, they hate the fact that they crashed the system and we don't have enough resources, space, availability, judges, you name it, to handle the crisis that they caused. They're so mad that we can't fix the mess they made.
Yeah.
Is that not the most ironic thing to you? Like, in this next post, we see Miss Judy herself, looking all scrappy and her jeans and her t-shirt, long t-shirt. And it says, this morning, I had 2 tasks. The first was to engage with people putting their names on the list and let them know about the resources available to them in Tijuana while they wait. And in the comments, Glenn Berkovitz says, I'm very proud to be standing alongside you, Sophia, but I wish I didn't look so cheesy as we give very serious support to the hopeful refugees that cold Tijuana morning. And this was posted on February 6th. Next, I have Asylum finding
inch-long paper.
Yes, because they're looking for... Can you read that one, dude?
Yeah, this is what it means to get a number. It says, a little piece of paper says 2,125. This is an inch-long piece of paper. Has to stay safe for 4 to 6 weeks while they wait.
Right. He's like, oh, my God.
That specific piece of paper.
That specific piece of paper.
They can't write the number on anything else. It has to be that piece of paper, that ink, that blue ink with the comma, with that type of handwriting.
They scan it.
Yep. It's like totally official.
Oh, my God. Then in this next post that's titled Sandals, something about sandals, it says, I help parents fill out, quote, no consent to separate forms so that when they make it out of the hielera, they will be less likely to have their babies taken from them and they can be sent to the same detention center while they wait out the next 10 days to a year.
Wow.
10 days to a year. She's very well aware. I wanted to show you again and again and again all these
admissions,
fake activists, all of these people that tell you that they are here to help refugees and migrants. They want to help them. They want to help usher them into and fill detention facilities that had been at a 46-year low. We had detention facilities and prisons even that were taking these folks in close. Their contracts canceled. The number of people that were coming was declining, and instead these people wanted to surge up again. They know exactly what they're doing, and they continue to do it regardless of the fact that they know what's going to happen. Asylum funding group Beta al Otro Lado. This one is a post about the beta post that she made, that Al Otro Lado made. This was made also, as you can see, on the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund. The same post from Nicole Ramos complaining about beta group. But I just wanted to show you that she uses this page for the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund as her personal, propaganda spreading vehicle. And I will share the link for you, of the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund Facebook page, so you can go and check out all of this stuff for yourself. Some other things that you can find on this page, for example, are the post by Asylum Seekers Relief Fund about an evening support of refugee relief. That's the same one shared by her mama.
Okay.
For that GoFundMe for the asylum seekers. It's got the GoFundMe link at the bottom. And it just says, please join us for an educational evening to support Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, established to provide necessary services to fulfill the needs of the refugees not currently being met by the existing programs in Tijuana. The fund supports services that include English lessons, humanitarian preparation for detention centers, as well as mass distribution of donations. Currently, Asylum Seekers Relief Fund is working alongside Al Otro Lado, a direct legal aid organization. For more information, visit their website. Visit the website, Asylum Seekers Relief Fund -la.org. The evening will include hors d'oeuvres, beverages, and a presentation by Sophia Maria de Loreto Churi about the asylum process at the San Isidro Port of Entry. Please consider giving a suggested donation of $25 or more. Yeah, they're using it to raise funds.
It's a black tie event.
But you see, it's for Al Otro Lado, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the GoFundMe that was linked in that post, just so we know where it's going, folks.
Yep.
When you go to that GoFundMe, it takes you to this GoFundMe right here. And who's at the very top there raising the money? Who does it say the charity is that is raising this money? You see it? It says right there, right below that, funds raised will benefit Jewish Family Services of San Diego. Okay, wait, there's more. There's more. How much is the goal, Duke? The goal is $250,000.
They've raised $188,223.
Well, that was when I took this picture. Who knows how much money's in there now?
Yeah.
And what is this connected to, Duke? That Chudy is raising money for, that Jewish Family Services will benefit from. By the way, guess who Jewish Family Services is the fiscal agent of? The San Diego Rapid Response Network, folks. The San Diego Rapid Response Network. And if you move over to the left so you can read what they're raising this money for, it says that since October, immigration authorities have been vetting families seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border and releasing them in San Diego with no resources or transportation. Even with heightened enforcement at the border, please don't touch your microphone again. It scared me. At the border in late November, asylum-seeking families continue to be released every day in San Diego, and we need your help to continue meeting their urgent needs. These families are fleeing violence, suffering and persecution in their home countries. They've endured many hardships on a long and dangerous journey to the U.S. Like many of us, they have come here to, by whatever means possible, to give their children a better life. Desperate and in need of help, these families are arriving at a migrant shelter in San Diego run by the San Diego Rapid Response Network. That's who this money is for. The people, the organization that is the fiscal agent of that organization, newly formed organization, is Jewish Family Services. And the person that's fundraising for them is the staffer of Representative Barragan. That's who's doing it. And she's working alongside Al Otro Lado. Alongside, hand in glove, together. And they are working, as you see, to do a lot of other things that are highly unethical, possibly very illegal. And so, I wanted to show you this video of the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund filming what they call that illegal list making in Mexico, where they're giving out the little papers later on. This is where they write people's names originally. Here's a video of that, and I'll read what it says. Try to read it anyway. Oh, that's too small. I can't read it.
Marvin Roberto.
After the numbers are issued to everyone in the line, they begin to read the names. You have to be prepared. You have to be present on the day your number might get called, because if you're not there, you can be skipped and bumped to the bottom of the list. Every day, the amount of numbers they call changes. On a good day, they call 10 numbers.
Okay.
And then you heard a little bit there where they call somebody's number and they call a name.
And they were happy.
So we assume they were happy. I don't know what's going on. In this next slide here, it's just the picture from, a screen capture of her political page, because she is an aspiring politician. Here's Trudy's public political page. I'll give you a link to that so that you can go and check it out for yourself. Apparently, she is running for the assembly position in the 45th district. And in this post she made herself on January 17th. Dude, can you read that for me, please?
I sure can.
Just the part where she says why she's running.
Okay, the dear friend stuff.
Yeah, well, I already told them it's the California Assembly District at 4054 at the California Democratic Party. But what I really want you to read is the part where she says why she's running.
Okay, why I'm running. The largest body of eligible voters in United States history is the American youth. By running for delegate, I am to represent a generation of voters that are foregoing a distinctive path into adulthood and modern politics, unlike any before it, but have felt alienated from the political process. Democracy is not a spectator sport, and I'm not interested in sitting this one out. I'm a 22-year-old recent college graduate. I am a generation of voters that, by and large, represents liberal and Democrat members of the electorate, and I have been discouraged by a lack of representation within our party. Low perceptions of government responsiveness interact with levels of trust in the system. A government that appears to be unresponsive to the public is unlikely to be trusted by the people. Although trust is an abstract concept, the decline of political trust is among one of the most clearly documented trends in American public opinion, and it has a significant effect on voter turnout, especially young voter turnout. I have the ability to bring transparency and trust into the political system and help ignite the most powerful voters in America. We are not apathetic, and I only hope to be given the opportunity to prove that to you. When I was 2 years old, my mother left my father and became a single parent. She was a high school teacher, art teacher, for a public school district in Oregon. And with the few resources she had, was able to afford childcare. I grew up going to protests in Salem, fighting for workers' rights and sitting in conversations about unions and paid sick leave with the understanding that politics affect everything. I was taught that voting isn't just a right, but it's a responsibility. I wanted to do more than just vote. I got involved in politics to protect people like my mother. For me, the best place I could do that was the Democratic Party. And one day I hope to see my own name on the ticket. Until then, my goal is to help to elect other Democrats into the positions of power. Since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a part of the progressive change. All I need is your permission to do it. Grant me the opportunity to put my ambition and my energy to work changing the world for the better. I believe in being extraordinary and nothing short of that. Thank you. See you all on Election Day.
I grew up going to places like, and this is true, Belize, Brazil, Benique, Belize, Brazil, another one of Belize, Begur, Spain. I was going to put all of these in, folks, because I wanted you to see. She makes it sound like she comes from a poor family.
Yeah, in Oregon,
that had it real rough.
Yeah, her mother was a single parent, and she's a teacher, and she somehow could afford childcare, and then she went to rallies and demonstrations in Salem, which isn't too far from Portland.
Yeah, but she forgot to tell us that she went to Brazil and Italy and Spain and Morocco.
How'd she do that?
And Marcadar, Spain, and London, and Senegal, and another one in Spain. These are different trips, and I'm not even counting all of the frequent trips that she makes in country to all of these different beautiful scenic locations in the mountains with all of these different she gets to do a lot of traveling. People like middle class people like yourself and I never got to do anything like that in our lifetimes. And she's only 22. Remind you of anyone that we've seen? A lot of these people are literally raised with a silver spoon in their mouth with all the access in the world, but they like to go slumming and act like they want to be the victims of a bad life so badly they'll make one up.
Yeah.
And it's just strange to me because I think that it's very disingenuous. Next, I want to show you, is this a video of her activism?
Yep.
Take a look of what she's been up to in the past.
All right.
She's only 22.
Yeah.
It says, vote Sophia de Loreto Judy.
Wow.
Officially starting her life in politics. Pantsuit Nation. Pantsuit Pursuit.
Oh, yeah.
She's holding up her fist there.
Fist up.
Leading her first local women's march. And she is holding a fist up again.
Yeah, with a bullhorn.
Even making protest.
Yep.
National
Oregon.
news.
Yep.
Wonder how she managed to do that.
Yeah.
She's just
Protesting
so
in
lucky.
different cities. First an intern, then working as a
Field
field
organizer.
organizer, then at a bar, then at a park.
Raising her voice.
She's raising her voice.
After peer review. Science.
Doesn't this remind you of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes, it does.
All these very young people. How did they manage to get so very popular so very fast?
Yeah.
She was born to a single mother. Our teacher
Yeah.
has no access. This is all organic, everyone. She just became famous overnight because America is great like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the music low. I don't want to snag it,
I don't know. This manufactured heroism is, I've seen it so many times with very young people that just come on the scene. They buy their way in just like all the rich people do, but they like to point fingers at the rich people and go, "That's disgusting." In fact, they do the very same thing, leaning on their own rich, connected family members and friends to get them onto the world stage.
Exactly.
Okay. So, I know that it's not done, but I really don't care to see anymore.
Yeah, it's repeating itself.
And then I wanted to show you her personal Facebook page. Here's her personal Facebook page. That's what it looks like. She's got a bullhorn in her mouth.
Yeah.
As you can see. And what does it say at the bottom there? It says she is from the university. She studied at the University of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
This is her about from her Facebook page. And it says that she is from Eugene, Oregon. Her intro says, organize, educate, agitate, resist. Don't be sorry. Her pronouns are she and her.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yep, she studied a semester at sea.
She also posted about the article that talks about Otro Lado in Mother Jones.
Oh.
Here it is, the post on her page on March 8th at 2:51 p.m. And the article is titled, "This group is helping thousands of migrants in Tijuana it's getting death threats in response.
Yes, that's right.
And it was an article, and I will show you this, about Al Otro Lado. I will share the link with you so you guys can go check this article out for yourself. But here's a screen capture from this article, in which it says, when staff at the Tijuana office of Al Otro Lado finished making a phone call on the organization's main line, they unplugged the phone. It's a new rule. The office phone has to be off the hook because they don't want to get any more death threats. Yeah. It began with a staff member being followed. Then their cars started getting broken into, and documents were stolen out of them. Later, the threatening phone calls began. On January 18, a caller demanded to know the whereabouts of a particular asylum seeker, saying that if Al Otro Lado didn't provide that information, everyone in the office would be killed. That same day, a woman delivered a note warning the organization that all of its staffers in the office were in danger. By February, the situation had gotten so dire that Al Otro Lado sent a letter to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights asking for emergency protection. The petition included a letter of support signed by more than 40 U.S. and international immigration law professors and lawyers, calling the threats deeply troubling. She posted that on her page. She's concerned. She also posted Al Otro Lado's video on her page. And here is a screen capture of that video. I am not going to show it to you just to save time. But that's what the video consisted of. And it has 3 people who look like they're reading off cue cards. Oh, yeah. And in a hostage situation, because it's very, very dramatic. Yep. Talking about how they just met with 29 families that were turned themselves in at the Calexico Port of Entry and were being held in detention. To be like, this is a horrible situation we have put these people in, and now we're making scary videos and telling people to help us get them out of where we put them in. That's what's going on in these videos. Yeah. And I told you they would be fundraising off these folks. She also posted this article of the New York Times talking about the government document obtained by NBC7 San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's primed and ready to go.
Well, she is very close to the people that are in that list, including Nicole Ramos.
Exactly.
Right? It must bother her that her friend's on the list. She may be on the list too. She also posted this GoFundMe that I just showed you for the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund. And, of course, you know that the people that are going to benefit from that link that you already went to is the Jewish Family Services, which feeds the San Diego Rapid Response Network. Carol Thom posted this GoFundMe, and Sophia Marie reposted the whole thing on her page. Carol said, I'm listening to the amazing Sophia Marie, which she tags, talking to us about her work providing humanitarian aid to asylum seekers in Tijuana. She's giving her time every week to make sure people have basic supplies to help them through asylum process, to teach them English. It's crazy the threats these people are fleeing. And the threats come from everywhere, from gangs to the police to the government. They're saying that about the authorities on both sides of the U.S.-Mexico border and the governments of Mexico and the United States. That's what they're saying. That's what Carol Thon is saying. That's what Sophia Marie is saying. That's what Al Otro Lado is saying. They don't like our government. They don't like the Mexican government. Both of them are xenophobic, nationalistic, and inhumane. And that's a bitter pill to swallow, especially because I know how much Mexico has done for the asylum seekers in the face of some attitude. So, it just, all that this is doing is creating animus between Americans and Mexicans against refugees and asylum seekers. That is what it's creating. And it shouldn't be like that. We should have a humanitarian process to help these folks. But what they're doing is fueling the hatred and the animus because of the way that they're handling situations, because of the way that they're doing these things. This is not helping Now, let's take a look at how much money they had on this Asylum Seekers Relief Fund at the time. This is her personal one that she started. Excuse me. I thought it was the other one. This one is the one she started, and it's up to $4,140. I showed you she also had a link to the other one, so she helped fundraise for them.
Yeah.
This one is for the personal page that she runs, Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, and this is the relief fund she was raising. You can see her name is right there under the Los Angeles, California. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's at the top. Sorry. It's at the very top of that. Sorry. Apologize. It says Sophia De Loreto Chudi's campaign. Please support it. It's up to $4,140 at the time that this snapshot was taken. And in the GoFundMe about, you will see that it says that this money is being raised for the Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, which is working to provide necessary to humanitarian and legal aid.
Oh, yeah.
She's not a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
She's working with lawyers. And we know what organization they're from. Al Otro Lado. Legal aid to asylum seekers in the shelters, in the camps, and local clinics in Tijuana, Mexico, and in detention holdings across the U.S.
Wow.
Background? Then she gives the background of people as she sees it, the zero tolerance policy, blah, blah, blah. She then talks about what is ASRRF. ASRF, Asylum Seekers Relief Fund, is founded and led by a passionate 22-year-old woman named Sophia De Loreto Chudi. She went down to Tijuana on her own volition. Not because she works for Representative Barragan and wants to muck up things in Congress and in Washington. Oh, no, that's not the reason.
Yeah.
She just went there out of the goodness of her own heart, just like Ocasio-Cortez went to Standing Rock, just like Gabbard.
Exactly.
Tulsi Gabbard went to Standing Rock because she loves water. Duh. That's the real reason. It wasn't because she was going to run for president in 2020. No. It has nothing to do with that, Duke. I don't know where your head is.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same reason that Women's March co-chair Sarsour, Linda Sarsour, went to Standing Rock, and so many other people ended up at Standing Rock. It had that as their origin story. Sophia De Loreto Chudi simply went down there out of her own volition because she just knew that the rhetoric and the policies of the Trump administration are inhumane, and she just wanted to help.
Yeah.
In an effort to complement the work already being done by the Mexican government. Oh, she was helping the Mexican government, Duke.
Complimenting it, yes.
Complimenting them by calling them nationalists, racists, be fuming at the fact that they were harassing Al Otro Lado, as Group Beta was allegedly doing to Nicole Ramos. You saw that she said she was effing fuming. That's what she means by complimenting the Mexican government.
Yeah.
I must have missed it. Oops. Oh, my God. In an effort to complement the work already being done by the Mexican government and non-governmental organizations, Sophia joined forces with the humanitarian aid workers, legal groups, medical teams, as well as 2 preschools in Los Angeles and many more activists and volunteers. There it is, folks. Those are her own words, Duke.
Yeah.
She laid it out who she's working with and for. She's working with other activists, the legal group, Al Otro Lado, all of it. They talk also about how they're taking in donations, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to show you that they talk about unaccompanied minors.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, remember, this all started because I was looking into the kidnapping of an unaccompanied minor from the Agape shelter. That's why the whole thing started. I was looking into that, and we found out that these folks were all in a WhatsApp chat.
Yeah.
Sophia Marie ends up being the, aide for a representative in Congress named Nanette Barragan from California. In this post, Sophia Marie says, and this is very important, folks. I can't emphasize this enough. Duke, I want you to read this very slowly with intent.
Slowly, with intent. Another way you can help the most vulnerable population of immigrants coming from Central America and undermine the Trump administration's attempt to dissuade immigrants from asking for asylum by putting in place incredible challenges to a fully legal process is by becoming a sponsor. Tomorrow, I'll be assisting in the legal crossing of 2 unaccompanied minors tomorrow who will be turning 18 in March and cannot wait any longer or they will lose the protection they are receiving from the persecutors who are pursuing them. One of the minors does not have anyone who is willing to receive him in the United States. The benefit of having a sponsor is that it allows the migrant to be released from detention. People who don't have sponsors will remain in detention and in government custody with no access to legal counsel during their entire asylum proceeding, which can last anywhere between a month and 2 years.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I have a question.
Yep.
When we started reading her posts, she's like, they'll be there for 3 to 10 days. Then next post, they could be there anywhere from a few days to up to a year. Now we're up to 2. See what I'm talking about, folks?
Keeps on changing. Keeps on changing.
No, honey, it doesn't keep changing. They know that they cannot guarantee that these people will not be stuck in detention for years. They know it, and they don't care. And they also know that a majority of them do not qualify for asylum. Who is the other person peddling the sponsorships? Jake Lee Harris.
Yep. And
Lolly B.
Yep.
And what did they say in that video? In fact, most of them won't qualify.
Exactly.
They know it. And it is unethical. It is unethical that they are telling these folks that they qualify for asylum or they have a snowball's chance in hell of getting it when they know damn well it's not going to happen. When they're putting them in what they consider to be torture chambers. Then she shares the link to SALDEF, which basically is some other organization's fax sheet for asylum seekers sponsorship. Notice these people don't take any responsibility for telling sponsors what they're really up against. Yeah. None of them, not even Representative Barragan's aide, not even her staffer does the bare minimum of due diligence in explaining to Americans that will have to take this on what they're up against. Folks, this is the epitome of unethical behavior. And of course, I'm going to leave you with this last post that she made asking for money for, the irony is thick, Al Otro Lado's Dignity Release Bond Fund. Yes, these people, many of whom are very, very rich, Hollywood connected, billionaire and millionaire connected, who could be bankrolling all this nonsense, all this chaos that they themselves have created, want you to give them the money so that they can, in a dignified fashion, release people from the detention facilities that they have filled to capacity.
Yeah.
Thank you, and good night, folks.
Yeah, really.
That's all I've got. I have so much more to connect with this caravan. I took it all the way up to Congress now, folks. We've taken it all the way up to Congress, and I'm going to continue to show you how these folks are connected to the very people trying to make these policy propaganda arguments in our Congress. They're working directly to create the propaganda that they then play gotcha with people like the Director of Homeland Security's Kirstjen Nielsen. It's an incredible thing. You can't make this stuff up. I will have more for you on my next show here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp
on 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Keep it tuned here. Thanks.